Welcome to our new series, The 200 Movie Challenge. Our goal this year is to watch 200 movies that we haven't seen yet. If you want to listen to the full podcast where this clip is from, the link will be in the description. Now enjoy today's movie.
No, we're just going to kind of hop right in. But Soto, I kind of need you to start things off for my first movie. Because something we talked about last week is one last time suggesting movies for each other to watch.
Yes, that's right.
And you gave me this. You gave a movie, and I realized, or you said something like you hadn't seen this. So I was curious.
No.
So tell me, what you chose and why, and then I'll get into it for a little bit. But yeah, I need to know why you picked this movie for me to watch.
I've been thinking about watching it for a while now. I just haven't gotten around to it. Also, I have a black cat, and so every time I see it on HBO Max, I'm always like kind of like want to pull the trigger, but I just haven't been able to, or circumstances. So when it came down to it, I was like, oh, Chad will tell me how this movie is. We have both the same similar taste, so and I've heard good things. It was like nominated for some shit, and it looked cool. So I figured, fuck it.
And it does. It did look cool. It's definitely a different animated style, and you're right. It actually won the best animated picture, I think, in 2023 or 2024.
Oh shit!
So not just because it beat Inside Out too. There's only like 3 or 4 animated films, so I want to say 2023. But that people got to realize this is coming out of COVID, and I say that because it takes a few years to do animated movies. So I think that's why there wasn't a lot coming out animated wise during this time. But yes, it did win at the Academy Award for Best Animated Film. So yeah, it was up. And yeah, so the movie came out, I think officially was 2024. I don't have that right in front of me at the moment. Yeah, 2024. So it had to win the 2024 Best Animated Feature. But yeah, it's a movie called Flow. And you're right, it has a black cat right there on the cover. And it was on HBO Max, and I think it was like a Saturday morning. I just plopped it in, ready to go. Maybe it was Sunday morning. I forget which morning it was.
Yeah.
But Soto, before I really get into it, I have to say, this is now the third movie I can think of that has no dialogue in it. I don't know if you. so mind you, I knew nothing going in outside of seeing the black cat kind of on the cover. But yes, I saw Wings, the very first picture ever won Best Picture. That was a silent film, so it had the title cards here and there. I did see this movie just recently, 3 Day Weekend, which did have words, but basically no dialogue between characters. So it was yes, this movie stars a cat, and we're going to get into the other animals. Hard part about this is I don't really know. You don't need to really know. There's no set time frame. There's no place. You don't know where this takes place. You're just kind of in this forest area. I am led to believe that humans are gone. Now,
Stray.
Yeah, I would say that. Now, I don't know. There's no explanation because this cat, you kind of see him in a house. You know that humans have been there at one time because there's a house. Someone was sculpting like all these cats. There's statues, and so it was. So I don't know. Maybe they knew what was about to come and left, but I feel like for some reason, but it's no explanation to why there's no humans in this movie. So whether or not they just left the area, or again, you can believe what you want because you can look at this film so many different ways, Soto, as far as like religious aspects to it, or just the way I took about it. It's something you can. And I don't want to get into it too much because there's a lot to this. But to me, I took away more of the fact that, and it made me realize, not that it would get us kids, how shitty humans kind of are. I'm not going to, because the whole idea of this is so. I'll kind of give you the beginning premise. I don't know how much you know about Flow, but for the people, the 2 or 3 people who might start at the beginning, basically, yeah. So you follow this black cat, and he's just living his best life. He's in the middle of the forest. He's just whatever, enjoying sun, taking a nap, whatever. It kind of starts off. These few dogs are chasing him. He's stealing the fish. So there's nothing going on, and then all of a sudden he sees all these deer run towards him and he's scared, and he doesn't know what's going on. Blah blah. He's alone. There is no other cats. I mean, there could be other cats in this world, just he's the only cat. So he doesn't know what's going on. Then all of a sudden, the water, there's this big wave, and then the water just keeps rising. So it's basically it's not going to stop. It's going to engulf all of the land. And
Wow.
so yeah, it goes back to its home, and it gets followed by one of the like a Labrador, a yellow lab, and who's kind of like being the dumb dog and stuff like that. And his dog buddies kind of come by in a boat, just happens to find a canoe, and they're all floating there. And the lab's trying to motion the cat to come with them, but the cat obviously in a boat with 5 dogs is like, no, I'm good, I'm good. And
Mhm.
so basically, it's trying to climb to the highest point, and it gets to a point where the water is now kind of gone. It gets flung into somewhere, and miraculously, at the last second, this other boat kind of comes by, and he swims towards it, gets on it, and it's the chillest capybara ever. Just looks at him and looks at the cat, and he's just like, "Hey, you want to get on this boat?" And yep, whatever. So they're kind of floating along, and yeah, then basically it's basically now the water is still kind of rising, and it's basically a hodgepodge of animals. They do find this lemur who's trying to like store all these knickknacks that it's found, and it's trying to bring it on the boat, and the capybara just gets out and just kind of just pushes the lemur who's got one basket, like, hey, if you want to get on. And so why I say the humans are shitty, because you're looking at basically different species, different animals, different philosophies, if you kind of look at it that way. They have to kind of work together, figure out what's going on, because this is now survival. They don't. No one knows
Mhm.
why this fucking water rose up, but it's also very, at first, very beautiful. Just the way the animals interact, because the cat's trying to catch a fish, and he's losing the boat. And there's this huge giant whale, and this whale kind of just goes to the surface, and the cat's on top of it. And this secretary bird comes by, picks him up, basically brings him back to the boat. And so it's hard for me to say what more it's about, but it's just basically how they're almost like, for lack of better terms, I don't want to say like a One Piece gang, but they're just a bunch of misfits who kind of cut together as a new family. And that yellow lab kind of returns. He's just there, but they're all just on this boat. And the cat realizes he needs to do something, because like this bird can kind of, weirdly enough, steer the boat, and he wants to help. So the cat gets fish for like everyone on the boat and gives it to everyone and stuff like that. It's a very, I don't want to say peaceful moment, because Soto, there is some very disturbing moments at kind of, this is PG, and my wife at times was like, God, I hate this movie. I did watch it with her. I love it, because the bird that rescued the cat, I'm going to kind of spoil something a little here. They find this island. They're trying to gather whatever they can, and it's the whole family of these secretary birds. And that bird that's rescued him in the first puts a fish in front of the cat. And you kind of see what's basically the lead bird come by, look at it, look at the fish, look at the bird, and gives the fish to like the children birds. Like, what the fuck are you doing giving our food to a cat? And
Mhm.
then the cat's trying to, find a way to escape, and all the birds are now surrounding it. And the bird that saved it's kind of put himself as like, no, this cat's cool, just leave it alone. And basically tries to fight for, like leadership, loses, and the leader bird basically breaks the wings of this bird. And so you have a
Oh
fight of
God.
this bird. So it is horrifying that. So, and obviously now the cat feels guilty, because it's like, it was just being a fucking cat. And this bird's trying to
Yeah.
protect it. So it's weird, but it is a way, just again, how they all had to come together. Um, Jill wasn't a fan of the animated style, because it looks a little old fashioned. I don't mind it as much. But at
Mhm.
the end, without spoiling too much, because I don't want to get into spoilers. Obviously, there is a resolution to it. Obviously, um, they don't explain what happened. And this, we've talked about. Some movies needing a little extra explanation of why things happen, and some movies don't. This doesn't. This isn't about
Mhm.
what the events going on. These are just about these animals' journeys and what they know what they had to go through, and how they evolved from what they were to what they are now. Because even like the yellow lab, he had all his dog's friends, but he loves this new group. He realizes this is a nice group, and he stays, even though all the kind of the dogs leave him. He stays because he's trying to rescue basically this other group. He's like, hey, these are my new friends now. So I can't explain it more than that. It's basically just a bunch of misfit animals in a way, just different stories. But it's just so weird, because yes, no dialogue, no narration, no nothing, but you feel, weirdly enough, what each of these animals are feeling. And yes,
Right.
you can, there are parts where you can say are very religious, if you want to take it that way, you can just say the way society is when society becomes post apocalyptic. What's gonna happen? And just
Yep.
you're like you gotta you can look at your enemy. Just like the cat's looking at the dog, and they were like, we're in the same shit. Let's just get through this. We can work together, and that's why you just say humans are shitty. But I mean, I know not all of us are, but for the most part, just look at our country. I'm
Yes.
sorry, no matter what, it's split. No, the littlest things set people off. And you're just like, yeah, no, there's probably a reason why there's no humans in this world. So yes, there's something very simplistic about it, something very deep about it, and I do actually suggest anyone to watch this once. I don't know if I'd really go back and watch this again. It fulfilled my needs. It's not, what I'm saying. It's not like you're gonna get something from a second watch. If
Mhm.
me and you were hanging out and you want to, I would watch it, but it's not like I'm gonna go seek this. But yeah, there's a lot of undertone to this, which friggin' works. And yes, I know you are a cat lover, and there are some scenes, obviously, because it's in a lot of water, where the cat is trying to fish or falls off the boat. Just like I'm like, don't worry, it's PG, nothing's gonna bad happen. Which we know some things could bad in PG. I'm like, but yeah, so don't get me wrong. If you're an animal lover, you're gonna love some parts of it. There's some parts that you're not gonna like, but I think that's what tells you know the overall story to this. So,
Mhm.
and that's it. There's not much more to it. It's basically, like I said, it's basically what the cat, the dog, the capybara, the bird, and the lemur, just all on about not knowing what's going on. All just have their own reasons for being there and what their ways of life. They have none of their usual family. Um,
Mhm.
and yeah, so they're just on this boat together, just like this is it. We're just going to go wherever this takes us. So yeah, I don't. There's not much more, but this is definitely a very good movie. I would say maybe next year. If you want to check this out, you can definitely check this out. Um,
Oh, nice.
it's yeah, I definitely like I said, it was definitely a good movie. One of the better movies I've seen all year. I mean that's if you look at the
Wow.
bottom half of my list, that's not saying
Yeah.
much. But like I said, I mean, I'm not mad that I saw this movie. It wasn't like, what the fuck am I watching? But you have to be in a certain mindset. But yeah, you can come into it and just, we've talked about not being religious people. A lot of people can look at it, certain scenes like that. But you take for what it is. So yeah, the fact that there's no dialogue, no narration, none of that. I was like, all right, but it was fine. I never felt it was needed in this. You felt every emotion, every animal, portrayed. Whether it was scared, whether it was happy, or just buddy buddy, or just whether it's loss or something like that, or it all worked. So I will say this is a top 20 movie for me.
Wow.
100%.
Okay.
I
A year.
I think at this moment I'm gonna put it at number 16. I'm gonna put this right.
Not bad.
This is a weird soda, but yeah, this is gonna go underneath weapons and above Megan. You start looking at our pairings.
What a strange. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it
quite
was
a.
just,
Yeah.
but it was just, I can't. There was nothing I didn't like about this movie. Like, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna go out and love it. I don't buy physical media anymore. I think,
Mhm.
like I said, I enjoyed what it was for. I don't need to go back and see it, but that doesn't mean I didn't hate it.